Hi and welcome to Atomic Darts. I'm your host Matthew. On this channel we take a look at darts, darts related materials, and other items that you, our subscribers, ask us to review. And on today's episode we're going to be taking a look at something about some tactics, a mouse, and a cricket. Alright, let's get into it. Alright, so today we're going to be talking about a game that is sometimes called Tactics. More often than not, it's called Mickey Mouse in the UK, and here in the US, it's called Qriket. Alright, so a little bit of history on Qriket here in the US. It showed up in the bars somewhere in the mid-60s to late 60s. That's what I could find from a historical standpoint, and it became extremely popular in the 70s here in the US. It is currently the #1 form of darts here in the US and in Asia. So let's talk about Qriket and how the game is played. Let's head over to the board and we'll get into it. Alright, so we're going to talk about Qriket here using this board, and then in a few minutes we're going to head over to this board and I'm actually going to play a game of Qriket so you can see what happens, how the game unfolds. But here's the basis for Qriket or for Mickey Mouse. They're basically played the same way. We are using certain segments of the dartboard. We are using the 20, we are using the 19, we're using the 18, the 17, the 16, 15, and both bullseyes. Those are the areas that you're going to want to throw out. Nothing else will matter as far as scoring points. So how this works is you're going to open a number and you can close a number, but while a number is open by you can score points. So in the event that you have the opportunity to go first, which is a key strategy, and the way that typically you pick to go first is by what we call corking, or whoever can hit the bullseye or closest to the bullseye. So when you start a match, you would shoot for the bullseye. Whoever's closest to the bullseye or in the bullseye gets the opportunity to throw first, which is the first advantage that you want to get. So in that case, you would want to throw at the 20. Now to open the 20, you need to basically get 3 darts, or the triple, or a double and a single. So you're basically trying to get a 60, so to speak, out of the 20, okay? So if your first dart is into the 5, next dart is into the single, and next dart is into the 60 here, you're actually gonna score that as a 4, so you're gonna take the 3 away, that opened it, and you're gonna score 20 because that's the 4th score. So you're gonna have 20 points. Now, we'll get into a little bit of tactics here in a minute, but what you would do from that point is, if it's open, is you want to just get points. You want to rack up some points, make sure that you've got a good lead ahead of the other opponent so that you can then start closing out. And what I mean by closing out is you would hit triples or 3 in a particular number, so say the 19, to close that out. So here's a quick game scenario. I go first, I open the 20, and say I'm ahead by 20 points. You're up to throw. Now you could throw to try and close me out, but that doesn't make sense. I'm up in points. So what you're going to want to do is go for the 19. Of course, you're hitting for the 57 to open it up. If you had that opportunity and you opened it up, and say you opened it up and then the next dart was a triple, so you go triple triple, you would then have 57 points. You could, in theory, shoot to close out the 20. Doesn't make a lot of sense because I'm only a few darts behind. So you're going to again want to shoot for the 19. Say you missed, so you're 57 and I'm at 20. So if I were to hit the 60, okay, so now I'm at 80 points, I may want to come down here and close you out. If I'm feeling good that day and I hit the 57, you no longer have use of that segment. You've got to go on to either the 18, the 17, the 16, 15, or the bullseye. That is basically how this game is played. It's a matter of opening and closing, but you want to make sure that you have a points lead. Now the question that comes into play is, could you end in a tie? Technically, yes, because I could open the 20 and get no points. You could open the 19 and get no points. I could decide to go to open the 18, or I could do something crazy and open the 20 on one dart, the 19 on the next dart, the 18 on the next dart, and then do that. Whoever gets to the final open and opens that last one first, if there's no points scored, is considered the winner. And it does happen, it is possible, but if you've got a number open, you're going to want to pick up a few points along the way because you may not be that accurate. Alright, let's talk a little bit about tactics, and then I'll head over and play a game against the Panda over here on the grand board. But as we get into tactics, I do want to point out there's a great book out on the market. It is called How to Master the Game of Cricket by Jason Carter. There's a link down below where you can pick this book up from Amazon. It is a great read. He goes into a little bit of the history of the game at the beginning of the book, and then he goes into explaining what I just explained, and then he dives into a lot of the tactics. Again, there's a link down below where you can pick up a copy of the book. Alright, so a touch about tactics. Again, I've talked about opening up and getting a points lead. That's kind of the key element here, is we want to open up whatever the largest number is that's available to us. So if I'm going second and the opponent that I'm playing with has opened up the 20, I don't want to try and close them out right away. I want to open up the 19 or whatever number I am comfortable with. If you happen to be really good at throwing at the 17s, that's your number for the day and you're just really good at it, that's fine. You want to open up something that you feel comfortable throwing at where you're going to get points. And then as your point lead gets above your opponent, and really where you want to be is about 3 darts ahead of them. Okay, so if I'm here shooting at the 19 and they've got the 20 open, I want to make sure that I'm 3 to 4 darts ahead. If I'm 4 darts ahead of that, then at least I know that I've got some room to play with when I go to close them out. Now, that is the number one tactic. What you want to do is make sure that you're in a comfortable number where you can score some points and then attempt to close them out. At the same time, you need to open up other numbers that have comfort for you. So that is the main strategy here, is to get enough points to start closing and opening other numbers so that you control the board. Now the 50 comes into play as a tactic. There are a couple ways to do this. I have tried this tactic on a few games and it's worked well for me, and also it bit me in the butt a couple of times. There were times where I had first throw and I would open up the 20 and I would get a 60 and I'd be up on a few points. I would then, on my next throw, my first dart would be towards the bullseye. And there have been times when I've been able to open the bullseye within 2 to 3 throws and maintain getting points on the 20. And that has thrown my opponent off completely because they're like, you just opened up the bullseye. That's what you do last. The theory in cricket is you go in order. You go to the 20, the 19, the 18, the 17, the 16, the 15, and then you go to the bullseye. That's the idea behind it. But I have switched it up on some people and it really threw their game off and I won. I have done that to some people that were deadly on the bullseye. I was a little off and I didn't open it up as quickly as I was hoping to, and it bit me because I didn't get enough points because I was using that dart to try and open up the bullseye. So I didn't have the point total that I needed to, and when it came down to the end of the game, we were both on the bullseye. They were slightly ahead of me, but they were more accurate on the bullseye than I was, and I lost. So that is one way that that strategy can bite you if you don't watch it. All right, let's head over here to the soft tip board or the grand board, and we're gonna go ahead and play some cricket. All right, so before we get started and play a quick game, I do want to point out that there are a number of apps available on the App Store for both Android and Apple phones, as well as tablets, and there are some desktop apps that are available out there. There's a link down below to where I reviewed 5 of those particular apps, but there are plenty more where you can go ahead and do the counting or scoring of cricket very easily. You can do the physical scoring. There are boards that are little white boards or a chalkboard to actually do the physical scoring. I'll be covering that in a later video, but I recommend using the apps. They're a lot easier, or you can just jump into getting something like a grand board, which is what I'm about to play on. It's got a cool app itself where you're allowed to play animals. They call them animal battles, or you can play someone that's close to you that wants to come on over and shoot around with you, or you have the opportunity of playing people all around the world. But it keeps track of the score for you in both Qriket and 501, 301, and a slew of other games that are available. So let's go ahead and get this battle on with the Panda and see who gets the win in. Let's get into it now. All right, so I've got this set up. You can see the little Panda there. Sorry about a little bit of the glare. Let's get into this battle. I'm going first. Let's get started. Bad throw. So as you can see here, or understand here, I only got the 20 once. So I've left that as availability for him to go ahead and open it up and start scoring. Panda missed. He only got it twice. You can see by the X on the score, and I've got the 1 single line. So I'm gonna go back to the 20 now to try and open that up and get some points on the board. All Alright, so I've gone ahead and opened that up, and you can see that I now have 40, and that is because I had 1 and hit the 20 once. So when I opened it up, that gave me a 4, so 20 points, and then I hit it one other time. You can kind of see what's going on. And now, let's just battle it out. Alright, I'm going to stop here real quick. I'm up on him significantly, so for me to start wanting to close out or open up other numbers makes a lot of sense at this point during the game. So I'm going to go and shoot for the 57 and see if I can close him out. The worst thing you can do is get behind and start chasing someone, trying to close them out while trying to get points. You got to get ahead in points. That's the number one thing about this particular game. That's the number one tactic, is being ahead at points when it ends, because then you're the winner. And a bad throw like that could be the kiss of death. Now, in terms of playing the game, that was an extremely bad move. I wasn't high enough ahead in points to truly close him out. I went for it feeling like I could get it. As you just found out, that was a really bad move because he got ahead in points and closed me out. Now, I have to open another number so that I can start scoring some points before he gets too far ahead. So really quickly, at this point in the game, he's actually got the 19 and the 18 open. I went for the 17 because I do much better at the lower section of the board than the 18. It is my nemesis. But at this point in time, I'm way behind because I have nothing opened and he has 2 numbers that he can score on. So I've got to do something extremely well here in the next couple of throws to get ahead of him and close out some of his scoring options. Now, as you just saw, the game erred. I'm going to back out on this one and correct it, but I could run with that cheat. Not going to. We'll play it fair. Why can't the 8s be part of this game? Alright, so we come to a real critical point in this match. So he actually has 3 numbers open currently. I have 0. The only thing left on this board is the bullseye. Again, this is where tactics with the bullseye can come in extremely handy if you're throwing really well, which I am not at all at this point in time. I'm kind of conceding in my mind that he's got this one. Now, I could open up the bullseye, get a couple of points on him and scare him, and then have an opportunity to close out. It's a slim shot. We'll see what happens here, but I pretty much have lost this match at this point. But you never know. You gotta play it to find out. Fortunately, not enough points. This game's over. Alright, so I lost that handily to Mr. Panda, as you can see by the score there. And as you can tell, that's pretty much how this game is played. It's really a matter about opening and closing out numbers prior to your opponent and having points on them. So again, I want to point out this book, How to Master the Game of Cricket by Jason Carter. A great book. It'll get into the tactics and strategies of playing this game. Thanks for watching and hanging out with us here and learning more about cricket. Again, this is the #1 game played here in America and in Asia currently. Now, 501 is definitely on the rise. This game can be played, of course, in steel tip and in soft tip. Utilizes the same board. I highly recommend it. Cricket will help you get there, and it's a lot of fun to play with family and friends. Thanks for hanging out and spending some time with me here at Atomic Darts. Again, I'm your host, Matthew. Don't forget to like and share, and make sure you subscribe and drop us a note. Let us know something you'd like us to review, or maybe it's a game you want more understanding about and you'd like us to review that. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.